Hi, I'm Miss Sarah, and this is At Home Makerspace, where every week I show you how to make fun projects with things you can find at home. This week we'll be kicking off a new series called Arttober. Every week during the month of October, I'll be sharing a new art project with you. Now this week, to kick things off, we'll be doing art projects that use leaves. The first project I have to share with you is a classic. We'll be doing leaf rubbings that look something like this. To make this project, you'll need a sheet of paper, some leaves, and some crayons. It works best to get crayons that don't have their paper wrapper on, so if your crayons do, go ahead and slip that wrapper off. You can also use old crayons that have already lost their wrappers. So to get started, we're going to place our leaves underneath our sheet of paper. Now go ahead and grab your crayon and turn it on its side. And using the side of the crayon, begin to rub over the area where your leaf is. And as you can see, the texture of the leaf begins to show up on the paper. Continue doing this until you have the whole leaf print. I'm going to switch here to the orange crayon so you can see what it looks like in a different color. But one thing I did notice was when I used my yellow crayon, the yellow was light enough that it was hard to see some of the details in the leaves. So my recommendation is to use a crayon that is a darker color. And as my last leaf appears, I finished up with my leaf rubbing project. Another way to do a leaf rubbing is to rub with a white crayon and paint over that with some watercolor. This is a popular watercolor technique called wax resist. For this variation, you'll need some paper, some leaves, a white crayon, watercolor paint, and a paintbrush. Now I'm going to move the painting supplies out of the way, and we'll actually start this project the same way as the last. So I'm taking the wrapper off of my white crayon and moving my leaves so that they will be underneath my piece of paper. Now just as before, we're going to turn the crayon sideways and begin to rub across those leaves so that the white crayon will leave a pattern on our white paper. Now, you probably won't be able to see it because both of the things are white, but if you hold it up to the light, you might be able to see a little bit of a shine and know that your pattern has come through. All right, so once you're all done with that, we're going to use our watercolor. And you don't need very much. We're going to use a little bit of paint and begin to paint over the crayon markings that we did. And as I'm doing this, you should see some of those white crayon lines appear through the paint. This is because the paint will not stick to the wax in the crayon. That's why it's called wax resist. And I think you can start to see some of the leaf shape coming through. We can see the stems, we can see some of the outline of the leaves. Keep on painting until you can see your entire leaf. And for some extra fun, you could actually choose to paint a few different colors. And when you're all done painting, make sure to set it somewhere to dry. If you want to learn even more cool things that you can do with leaf rubbing, one of my tween volunteers has created a video with some extra ideas. So be sure to check out the link to watch the video. Next, I'll be showing you another painting technique, but this time we'll be using the leaves as stamps. For this project, you'll need some paper, I'm using cardstock, leaves, a paintbrush, and some tempera paint. We'll start by painting one of our leaves. So go ahead and add a thin layer of paint to the top of your leaf. I like to try painting out all the way to the edges, but this can be a little bit messy, so I like to actually hang on to the stem to help me keep my fingers a little bit cleaner. And once you are all done painting, you can turn your leaf upside down so that the paint faces the paper. And we'll go ahead and use it as a stamp. So go ahead and press down gently. And when you think you've got it all the way pressed down, lift up and you should see a leaf print. Ta-da! Now another option you have is to actually paint the bottom side of the leaf instead of the top. This can actually give you a little bit more texture if the bottom side of your leaf is like this one and has a lot of texture on the bottom side. Other than that, I'm going to do everything the same way. Go ahead and put a thin layer of paint on your leaf. Try to paint all the way out to the edges and make sure to grab the stem if you need a little help trying to keep your hands clean. Alright, so now that that is all painted, I'm going to do the same thing. Put the leaf paint side down and press it gently till all of that paint will transfer. Then lift it up and you have a leaf print. Here's what those prints look like up close. Here's where we painted the top and here's where we painted the bottom. You can see there's a difference in the texture. For some added fun, you can even paint your leaf with multiple colors. Now here's a fun technique that uses the colorful pigments inside the leaf to make art. It's called leaf hammering. And yes, you really do use a hammer for this one. This can be a good way to teach young children how to hammer safely, but just make sure to keep those fingers away from the end of the hammer. For this project, you'll need a surface to hammer on, paper towels, leaves, and a hammer. Very fresh leaves work best for this project. Start by folding your paper towel in half and placing it on your surface. Now put a leaf in between those two sheets. Now it's time to hammer. After a little while, you should start to see the leaf's pigment start to seep through the paper towel. You can stop hammering when you see a clear outline of your leaf. When you're all done, go ahead and open up your paper towel and you should see a colorful print of your leaf. So as you can see, the colors or pigments of the leaf transferred to the paper towel. If you're interested in learning a bit more about leaf pigments and the role they play in leaves changing color in the fall, be sure to check out last week's video, which was all about fall leaf science. And finally, my last project for you today is leaf doodling. For this project, you'll need some paper, some leaves, glue, and drawing tools of your choice. For a change of pace, I decided to use black paper and some light markers. So you'll want to start by arranging and gluing your leaves to your paper. And if you happen to have some colorful leaves around, I would recommend those. Just make sure the leaves you pick aren't super dry or they might crumble when you try to glue them to your paper. So keep gluing leaves until all of them are in place. Once your leaves are in place, it's time to start doodling. You can draw around the leaves or even on the leaves. Let's play a little game. Can you guess what I'm drawing? So what did I draw? Owls, of course. I hope you enjoyed learning all these techniques for making art with leaves. If you make some leaf art, we'd love to see what you've done, whether it's one of our techniques or something new. So please take a picture or even a video of your project to share with us at the library. You can do so through our Facebook at www.facebook.com/FHCPL, through our Instagram. Our handle is @FHCPL, or you can send us an email. Our email address is makerspace@finleylibrary.org. Be sure to join us next week for another video in our Arttober series. See you then. Bye!